This lens came out when the Z-mount was first introduced back in 2018, and I've been using it since 2020 when I bought my used copy. But over these past 5 years, is my 14-30 still a working lens? Because here's the deal, this is my main wide-angle lens for landscape photography. It's what I capture like 90% of my landscapes with, no matter if I'm at the beach capturing a huge cliffside or in the mountains shooting a wide ravine. The 14-30 goes with me wherever I go and is my lens of choice. It's my most used lens in my entire camera kit, more than my 24-120 and my 28mm. But because I'm a landscape photographer, this lens gets put into some pretty rough conditions. For example, if I'm shooting by the beach, it's not uncommon that I get splashed by waves or have to deal with the salt water in the air. I mean, we are landscape photographers after all. But even through all those conditions, the 14-30 should hold up, right? The lens does have weather sealing after all, and it's supposed to handle conditions like this with ease. So how has it held up over these past couple of years? Well, it's actually held up pretty well thus far. And if we take a look around the lens, we can see just how good it actually looks. Because if we look at the metal base of the lens, we can see a few things. First off, there's this dent on the side. Now I'm not 100% sure how it got there. To be honest with you, it's been there for quite some time, but it doesn't really affect the lens's mechanics. And throughout where the lens mounts to the camera, there's some scratches, which doesn't bother me too much since the area comes in contact a lot with my camera and I can't really see it too much. But if we move to the focus ring and move the ring up and down, it'll click oh so slightly. The focus ring, when turned, feels like something is clicking as well. But overall, the ring is still smooth and works perfectly fine when using it on a camera. However, the ring does seem to have some wear on it, especially some of the paint. Most likely from years of use and constantly turning the ring to manual focus. When we turn the lens around to the back, there's a bit of wear on the paint, where the made in Thailand part is. This isn't too concerning since it's just paint, but I figured I might as well point it out. If we move to the top of the lens, we can see a slight dent in the rings right next to the glass, which from what I've seen is pretty minuscule and more aesthetic than anything. But if we move from the outside plastic to the center of the lens where the glass is, there's some minor scratches on the front element. Now this might seem like something that's a much bigger deal than it actually is. I mean, scratches on glass could affect the image quality. That could be the case if these scratches are massive and take up a lot of the lens. That could result in the images being scuffed or even a potential loss of sharpness. But to get to that level of damage would be a lot, and what we're seeing with the 14-30 is super minor. The lens still performs at a high level optically and performs practically the same since when I first got it. The images still have perfect sharpness, great micro contrast, and beautiful colors. Image quality hasn't been an issue with this lens, and is something that I don't think will ever be a problem with the 14-30. And even on the back of the lens, we don't have any issues with the back elements, as the lens looks quite clean overall. But in terms of this lens, that's pretty much everything that I could find. The lens is in great shape, and most of the wear and tear is purely aesthetic, versus being a mechanical issue that affects the lens's build quality or image quality. Because when picking up this lens, I initially thought that parts of this lens could be affected in the long run, like the twisting locking mechanism. It's still working as intended, and I haven't really had any issues with it at all. And it's funny, because a lot of photographers initially thought that the locking mechanism would hurt the lens in the long run, but that simply hasn't happened. Nor has any dust gone into the lens, along with fog, haze, or fungus. The lens is in great condition and has been a worthwhile investment thus far. And to be honest, I'm not that worried about how it's going to look in the future. I mean, if it's held up well, it should be good moving forward. It's built like a tank with plenty of metal all around it, and with strong weather sealing, it should help to protect against the elements no matter what situation it's thrown in. Something I will continue to keep an eye on is a twisting locking mechanism, because if that mechanism gets damaged, then it could potentially hurt the rest of the lens. But we will have to see moving forward, especially in the next 5 or so years. And for me personally, this is going to be a lens that I'm going to be keeping around for a very long time. Because to me, this lens is better than the 14-24 f2.8s for landscape photography because of its small form factor and lightweight build. The only time I will move off of the 14-30 is if they make a Mark II, which is not that unlikely since they just released a 24-70mm f2.8 Mark II lens. Until then, I want to give you guys my 2 cents as to why lenses should be your first priority when building a camera kit. Because let's think about this for just a second. When looking back on my 5 years of using this lens, it's not hard to see why it's been such a great investment. Not only has it stood the test of time in terms of build quality, but it's also been my most used lens probably ever. It comes with me on every landscape shoot and hasn't left my camera bag since first getting it. And it's the best example of when you invest into the right lens, it'll last you a lifetime. Because although camera bodies do provide you with new tech, like a better sensor or more dynamic range, lenses will change how you see the world as a photographer. New lenses equals a new set of eyes for your camera. And those new perspectives forever change how you capture your landscape photography. Like going from your standard kit lens to a wide angle allows you to capture more of your elements into the frame and create a more wide, exaggerated look. While a telephoto lens can help you isolate your subject that's far away from you. Lenses are everything for great photographers, and without them, it's impossible to capture the image in the way that you want to. It's what I focus on a lot when first starting to build my camera kit, and is what I always recommend new photographers focus on when starting out into photography. But it's simply not enough to get lenses that just have the right focal length. You want to get lenses that are high quality so they can last you forever. Because if you get cheap lenses, it'll result in you needing to replace your lenses after a couple of years if they fall apart. And you don't really want to be buying new lenses every couple of years because they fell apart. That can add up over time. Instead, prioritize getting high quality lenses with weather sealing and excellent build quality, as lenses that are built well will always last a lifetime. I mean, just take a look at this lens from the 60s. It still works and is more than functional on modern day cameras. It's crazy that this 60-year-old lens is still working in 2025, but that's the power of getting high quality lenses. Plus, if we're being honest, lens tech doesn't really change all that much. Yes, they can make the image quality better and throw in a faster autofocusing motor. But let's be so for real right now. The lenses nowadays are excellent, and if I'm being honest, the improvements from here on out will be marginal at best. I mean, the 14-30 is so good optically and build wise that it simply isn't necessary to upgrade anytime soon. And of course, if something does come out that is truly life-changing, you can always just sell the lens and upgrade. But at the end of the day, investing into lenses is never a bad idea, considering that they last for so long and they rarely get outdated. It's as safe of an investment as it gets, and it is definitely safer than investing into a camera body. Lenses will forever be the backbone of a great camera kit, and for me, the 14-30 will stay in minds for a very long time. But anyways, what's the oldest lens that you own in your camera kit? Because I know some of y'all have been doing photography for a very long time. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. Anyways guys, thank you so much for experiencing the world with me today. And if you want to check out another one of my videos, check it out right here.